Not everybody is welcoming next year's launch of new flights from St. John's to London in the UK. A ticket is going to cost about $1,000 round trip. Meanwhile, Labrador West NDP MHA Jordan Brown says his constituents pay up to $1,800 to fly from his rural riding to the capital in their own province. That price gap has people living in rural parts of Newfoundland Labrador without affordable travel options. Joining us from Halifax this morning for a closer look at the issue is Maria Matthews, Assistant Professor of Tourism and Hospitality Management at Mount St. Vincent University. Great to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you.
So flying from Newfoundland Labrador to the UK is obviously a lot further than traveling within the province. What makes rural flights so expensive?
I think we have a number of issues. Obviously, lack of competition is a big consideration. Also, the geographical region. Also, seasonal demand plays a lot into this, and also population is the biggest driver of cost of travel interprovincially, and as well as obviously national across Canada as well.
When you're looking at, from some rural communities, $1,800 just to get to the capital, I mean, obviously that's cost prohibitive for a lot of people. What options are people left with?
There aren't any options. Other provinces, may be fortunate to have other means of transportation to get there. This is the only option for many people other than driving. And, this isn't just an economic consideration for, industry and tourism. It's a health consideration. It's a social impact of people not having affordable flights to be able to get to the medical care they need, whether it be St. John's, for medical facilities there, which, as we know, in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, that is the only option for certain facilities. If that's not the case, then they have to travel to Halifax and beyond to Toronto, and that is even more cost prohibitive.
Absolutely. And this isn't just a problem that's happening on the East Coast. What other rural communities across the country experience something similar?
You have to look at the Northwest Territories. Quebec recently is having the same issues. So, these rural communities within provinces in Canada, there's many that are struggling. And a lot of that is due to the lack of competition that we have with the airlines. And there needs to be some solutions to actually try and move forward. We are in the 21st century after all.
You make a great point. You also brought up Quebec. We know they subsidize inter-provincial air travel for people who are in rural communities. It's a regional access air program. It requires flights to cities like Montreal to cost no more than $500 round trip and $250 one way. So they've put a cap on it. What other solutions could there be?
That needs to be a cap. One of the solutions that I'm saying is provincial. We have the same with our ferry of getting off the island. It's not subsidized for residents. I think that's something that needs to happen. I think it needs to be multi-dimensional. I think we need all levels of federal government have to be involved in this for, particularly from a healthcare standpoint. Mm-hmm. We have to get provincial government, whether it be the Department of Tourism, there has to be industry associations involved. There also has to be destination marketing and management organizations involved, because collectively the economy needs to benefit from this, as well as tourism, as well as some of the social impacts as well. And there are solutions. It is standard practice for airport authorities and governments to collaborate with airlines on incentives to get them to come in. We have an issue with what happened in 2019 of Air Canada and WestJet both pulling out of St. John's to Europe and not returning until obviously this year. WestJet didn't happen without that incentive from various levels of government to make that happen. Mm-hmm. So what needs to happen now is the Open Skies Agreement needs to be opened up across the world, 18 Open Sky Agreements in Canada compared to 120 in the US. So things like that, there's so many barriers. The cost of airport taxes to land in Canadian airports is significantly high. The other issue is there was a poll recently done, and Canada ranked 68 out of 80 for countries of being the most expensive countries in the world. And Canada is the only G7 country on that list. So this is significant.
There's a lot of places to improve. And Maria, I'm glad that you brought up healthcare along with tourism as a reason why this needs to change. Thanks so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.